Victor Wembanyama could pass Nikola Jokic sooner than anyone thinks. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Victor Wembanyama finished with 26 points and 12 rebounds, but he shot just 6 for 21. And when Karl-Anthony Towns was tracked as his primary defender, Victor went 2 for 11 with 5 turnovers. New York crowded his catches, pushed him away from the basket, and forced him to make decisions before he was ready. 2 games later, Wembanyama answered with 32 points in San Antonio's only win of the series. That contrast may define everything that comes next. He is already talented enough to reach the finals. If the player who responded in Game 3 becomes the version San Antonio gets every night, Victor could be the best player in basketball as soon as next season. If Wembanyama wins the 2027 MVP, leads the Spurs to a championship, and proves those offensive problems are being solved, the Nikola Jokic debate changes immediately. One season would not erase everything Jokic has accomplished, but it could put Victor ahead in the race to be the best player alive, while accelerating a second, much harder race, building the greater career. He may be one historic season away from winning the first argument. Catching Jokic all time would still require years of elite production, health, and postseason success. But instead of waiting until Wembanyama reaches his late 20s, that conversation could begin while he is still 23. The idea sounds extreme, until you look at what Wembanyama has already done. In his 3rd season, he averaged 25 points, 11.5 rebounds, and a league-leading 3.08 blocks while playing fewer than 30 minutes per game. He became the youngest defensive player of the year in league history, made first-team All-NBA, and reached the finals in his first postseason. San Antonio eliminated the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder along the way, and Wembanyama was named Western Conference Finals MVP. This is no longer a prediction built around his height or potential. The resume has started, and it is growing faster than almost anyone expected. Even the loss to New York changed San Antonio's timeline. Wembanyama averaged 26 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 3.6 blocks while facing championship-level pressure for the first time. He was not efficient or consistent enough to control every important possession, and the Spurs lost in 5. But reaching that stage at 22 answered one major question. San Antonio no longer has to wonder whether its superstar can survive playoff basketball. Now the question is how quickly he can turn one finals appearance into a championship. His 4th season is not simply another year to develop. It may be his first real opportunity to take control of the league. Jokic remains the standard because he has been doing this for years. He owns 3 MVP awards, a championship, a finals MVP, 8 All-NBA selections, and 8 All-Star appearances. At 31, he still averaged 27.7 points, 12.9 rebounds, and 10.7 assists, becoming the first player to lead the league in rebounds and assists per game during the same season. Wembanyama may already affect more defensive possessions than any player alive, but Jokic has repeatedly controlled games with his scoring, passing, and decision-making. Victor is not chasing one incredible season. He is chasing an offensive command that has already survived almost every coverage opponents can create. Like and subscribe for more Spurs analysis, because Victor's first test begins before he even catches the ball. To close that gap, Wembanyama must pass 3 offensive tests. The first is positioning. New York proved that even at his size, an easy catch is never guaranteed. Defenders crowded his base, fought him before the pass arrived, and forced him to start possessions farther from the basket. When Victor catches the ball 18 feet away instead of 8, the defense has already taken away part of his advantage. Jokic rarely lets an opponent decide where he begins. He gets to his spot, seals the defender, and forces everyone else to react. Wembanyama does not need Jokic's body or style, but he does need to take more control before the ball ever reaches his hands. The second test is punishing the double team before the defense can recover. Wembanyama can see over almost anyone, but a passing window in the playoffs may stay open for less than a second. Hesitate, and it disappears. Put the ball on the floor without a plan, and a smaller defender can attack his handle. Make the read immediately, and the defense has no comfortable choice. Leave him alone, and he gets a clean scoring chance. Send help, and the Spurs attack before the rotation can reset. Victor does not need to become Jokic or average 10 assists. He only needs to make doubling him feel more dangerous than guarding him one-on-one. The third test is the one championships are built on. The first action has failed. The defense has switched everything. The clock is below 8 seconds, and every person in the arena knows the ball is going to Wembanyama. What happens next? Victor already has more tools than almost any player his size. He can shoot over defenders, attack from the perimeter, finish above the rim, and release the ball from angles no normal contest can reach. But 10 possible moves are not as valuable as one answer he trusts under pressure. Jokic can reach his spot, recognize the coverage, and create a good shot almost on command. Victor must prove he can do that again and again against a defense built entirely to stop him. That was the real lesson of the finals. The problem was never that Wembanyama could not produce. He still averaged 26 points. The problem was whether he could create the same efficient answer every time the game demanded it. During the regular season, overwhelming talent can destroy imperfect coverage. In the finals, every hesitation enters the scouting report. Every uncomfortable catch is recreated. Every weakness is tested until the player solves it or the series ends. His 32-point response in Game 3 mattered because he answered after New York had made him uncomfortable. A championship closer has to keep doing that after the defense adjusts again. This is why the comparison is more complicated than saying Wembanyama dominates 2 ends while Jokic dominates only 1. Victor's defensive advantage is enormous. He protects the rim, survives switches, and erases mistakes that become easy points against almost any other team. But Jokic's offensive value reaches far beyond his own scoring. He decides where possessions begin, recognizes help before it arrives, and creates good shots without letting the defense control the action. Denver did not build a championship offense around his statistics. It built one around his ability to solve almost every coverage. That is the part of Jokic's game Victor still has to approach. Wembanyama does not need to close the entire offensive gap. If he can establish deeper position, punish the second defender, and create one dependable shot late in games, his defense may take care of the rest. San Antonio would have more than an elite scorer protected by a great defensive system. It would have a superstar capable of forcing opponents to rethink their strategy at both ends of the floor. That gives Victor a realistic path to the MVP. It also gives the Spurs a path from a young team that reached the finals to a contender capable of returning year after year. Now consider the timeline. Jokic won his first MVP at 26 and his first championship at 28. If Wembanyama wins both at 23, he would reach those landmarks 3 and 5 years earlier. That would not automatically make Victor greater. Jokic kept adding elite seasons, awards, and playoff performances after reaching those milestones. But it would mean Wembanyama was collecting the same career-defining achievements with far more basketball still ahead of him. The debate would no longer sound like a distant prediction. It would become a serious question about how quickly Victor could close a gap that once looked enormous. An MVP and a championship next season could make Wembanyama the best player in basketball. Becoming greater than Jokic would require much more. Victor would need to stay healthy, remain near the top of the MVP race, and prove that one championship was the beginning of sustained dominance, rather than one perfect run. Another 2 or 3 seasons of MVP-level production and championship contention could make the historical comparison legitimate. Actually passing Jokic would require even more evidence, but the conversation would already be happening years earlier than almost anyone imagined. Everything comes back to the player. New York exposed in Game 1, and the player who answered in Game 3. Wembanyama does not need to copy Jokic or become the greatest passing center ever. He has to become stronger before the catch, faster when the double team arrives, and calmer when the original play breaks down. Pass those 3 tests, and San Antonio may have a superstar capable of changing the geometry of every possession on both ends. That combination could produce an MVP, a championship, and a new answer to the question of who controls the NBA. Victor Wembanyama could pass Nikola Jokic as the best player in the world next season. Passing his career would take much longer. But the real threat to Jokic is not that Victor can erase a decade of greatness in 1 year. It is that Wembanyama started collecting the right achievements early enough to catch him far sooner than anyone planned. If Victor wins MVP, the championship, and Finals MVP at 23, who is the best player alive? Wembanyama or Jokic? For the offensive move that could make Victor nearly impossible to defend, watch our next breakdown.